Hello and welcome back to another vlog. My name is Cory Talaska and we are here with the Pro car that we are currently trying to finish El Rapido so we can bring to Michigan for Cory to do a bunch of fab and for us to get in the dyno and stuff like that. So if you guys watched the last video, a bunch of stuff has changed in the car, all cleaned up. Kind of today, the focus is we're going to finish putting the trans back together, which my pops is working on now, and then put our fresh ACT clutch in, put the 2J in the car, and just continue assembly. So pretty much everything from the inside of the car back is kind of already assembled. There's a few little wiring things we got to take care of, but once we toss the engine in, we can pretty much finish front to back. There's a few parts that we're waiting on here and there, but if we need to, we can hook up what's there to get the car, over to Michigan done and dyno and everything. So we're gonna start there, so working on stuff. So progress was made. I kind of videoed some of the stuff while we were doing it, like getting the engine out, putting the clutch on, fresh ACT triple disc. Then we dropped the engine in. So we got the Samson's trans on, slid everything in. E36s are pretty sweet. You only have to drop the subframe like an inch. We didn't even take it fully all the way out. Put the fresh mounts in. So these are the same excessive engine mounts we've been using, except they're powder coated black along with everything else. I'll raise the car up and we can look underneath in a bit. Still looking fresh. The red Hypertune covers, everything kind of just meshes together pretty well. I'm pretty stoked on it. Every line that we pretty much have fresh this last year was all BMRS fresh crimped stuff by Fresh Produce as well, Brennan Greaves and them. And yeah, the harness is all hooked up. Luckily, I mean, it is literally because it was custom made for this, it is only what we need. And I love that part of it, is that it's everything so perfect length, labeled, beautiful, everything's super clean, and there's no excess or anything in the way. So the only stuff not hooked up right now is pretty much the vacuum lines that go on the bottom of the Hypertune intake, which my dad polished up pretty sweet as well. He, if you watch the video from yesterday or from a couple days ago, he polished up like the overflow tank, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do this to everything." So yeah, it looks sweet. That was one piece that was scuffed up quite a bit because when we first got it, it went in and out of the car a ton of times, and then it happened at the racetrack as well. And of course, when you're at the track, everything cares just like a little bit less. But we're still rocking the same Fresh Produce intake. We're still rocking our Vibrant Vangent clamps. We do have an oil cooler hiding behind here that is also hooked up with BMRS lines. We do run a relocation kit. I guess I'm just going to talk a little bit more about the engine itself because I've never, if you follow my Instagram, you've seen stuff, but I've never actually really updated on this car. So pretty much this is a Rad Industries 11-to-1 2J, beautiful, love it. We're rocking the super damper. We have like Dan's self-exciting alternator, KRST power steering pump. We run all the chase-based power steering stuff. I did have like a custom pressure line made by them just to be a little bit longer, because this is like the 2J kit, but I needed a little bit longer line to work with the KRST pump. We still run the Chase Bay's power steering cooler that like mounts in front of the rack. We've never had any power steering problems ever, both with this pump, and a bunch of people have had issues with these pumps. They've said they went through like 5 or 6 of them. This is our second one, and the only reason there's a second one is because we put on a fresh one just because, and we sent the other one back to get rebuilt. Yeah, it's kind of like an oval track thing. I mean, KRC, and that's what we run. It's fantastic. You can change the little valves in them to adjust steering, so almost like a caster adjustment that you feel, not as much as like a caster adjustment that affects a ton of the car, but it does affect steer, like self-steer and feeling of the wheel itself, so it's kind of cool. We do just run a stock starter. There's really not a whole lot too much more exciting here. The reason why none of this is here, Jelani purchased our whole old setup. We're rocking a new setup, so we are going to be going to Cory's shop next week. He's going to be making a fresh manifold. We're putting a Garrett, well, there's still some things up in the air, but it's going to be a Garrett turbo, so I will let you know which turbo we decide on. It's between 2 currently, but the list of things to put this car together is definitely slimming down. I do remember one thing that I wanted to show in the last video, but I completely forgot. I have it all covered up because of the rear bulkhead, but I can probably sneak the camera in the back. Is one big change that we made is we had bulkhead fittings in the back of the car that was for like our fuel line and brake line and all this stuff, and I've realized that I really don't like bulkhead fittings in really hard to reach places. It's hard enough to try to keep them tight or get them tight, hard to tighten them themselves, because as soon as you want to tighten a fitting on it, it maybe wants to loosen the whole bulkhead. So what we did instead, because I mean, it's obviously a full-blown race car, is we actually lasered out a piece of aluminum plate and then got weld bungs and made, it's still technically a bulkhead, but now it's a plate that mounts in and fittings on either side, and with like obviously a pass-through. So I'm way more excited about that because I was able to go into the car, hook up all the lines, go up on the top of the car, hook up all the lines, and not ever have to worry about like someone being on the top and the bottom and trying, while you're tightening one, loosening the other. So I'll try to show you. So it's not the easiest thing to see, but you can see back here in the corner where my finger is kind of, there's aluminum plate, and it has basically, this is fuel feed, we have our dash 3 brake, dash 6 fuel return, and then dash 6 nitrous feed going in here as well. One thing that I actually did not talk about that we did on the car is, or up until this year, we had the stock front, like the front frame rails were stock all the way up here. We did chop these this year, as you can see, chopped it off. Basically this plate that we welded here is the same plate that's on the back of our front bash bar. And it also holds, as you can see, holds our intercooler with these cool brackets that Cory added. Now it's way easier to get to. If you've ever mounted anything on the front of the E36, messed with the radiator saddle, anything, you know that behind here, it's a pain in the butt to get to, and now it's just completely open. So kind of, you know, nothing crazy. Probably long overdue, something we should have done like when we first started doing the car, but it worked at the time, and I was not a great fabricator, still not amazing, but I can get myself into trouble now. So today's Saturday. We want to bring the car next weekend. There's a few parts coming this week, but I am going to probably get the car rolling tomorrow. There's only one thing preventing me from putting the intake in, which is a good way to mount the dipstick. I've always, to be honest, kind of mounted it a little half-ass and zip tied it to like the power steering reservoir right here, but I don't want to do that anymore. So we did make like a pretty sweet aluminum bracket that holds it up, but it doesn't hold it, so if you try to pull it, it still comes out of the engine. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave this because I like this top mounted better than attaching to here, but we're going to go down to to where it mounts, and you see the little JZ like block off plate. So we're gonna make just a little L bracket and weld it to the actual dipstick, and then that's gonna hold it in. Zoom out. That's gonna hold it in. So if anyone goes to check oil, if I have a new crew guy, anything, there's no chance of them just pulling the dipstick out. Not that it's the end of the world, but as soon as I started driving, it would just trail oil like crazy, which is not something we want to do. So that's pretty much it. That's kind of the update on the car. Tomorrow we're going to thrash again, so this kind of vlog is just encompassed in one day, and we're going to run it at that. Hopefully you guys like some of the B-roll and style. Trying to I will incorporate more and more of my own kind of style into these as we go, but I just want to make sure that I do get uploads up because it is fun to do, and I know if I stick to it, we'll make do. So tomorrow, more stuff coming. We'll edit it right away. We'll see. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, enjoy.